Greetings, folks. I'm Dan Mack.
And I'm Chris Mack.
And welcome to Grilling is My Business, where we cook shit and talk metal. That is your tagline, Pat. Simple. So what we decided is that, we don't have any particular recipes that we necessarily want to follow or anything like that, and that we can really kind of associate with music, like Pat's been doing. Well, we thought we'd go on a different path and try something that is made by an artist themselves. Try out their recipe or kind of a variation of their recipe. So we picked up this book called Mashed Potatoes.
Mashed potatoes, dad jokes for the win.
Yes. So we picked up mashed potatoes and we went through it, found a couple, obviously, went through it. But we wanted to start off a little simple for our first time around, and since we've been typically in an Italian mood, being from New York, we're going to start today with something basic and something complex. So we're going to start off with the basic, which is meatballs. The complex part is John Petrucci from Dream Theater.
Yes, I am your god.
So for those of you who don't know, John Petrucci has been the guitar player for Dream Theater for however many
30 years.
30 plus years, absolutely. God, I believe they started in the mid-80s, 84. My history is not so well. I'm wearing a shirt that is the 20th anniversary that came out after Octavarium. So add about 16, 15 years to that. So yeah, been around for a long time. Master technician, master at his craft, excellent riff maker. Every album that he releases, as far as Dream Theater goes, has always been just a stunning release. Not even just him, but the whole entire band is obviously extremely talented. But they are an excellent band. We've seen them live a couple of times, and I've seen them at least maybe 6 times at this point.
I've seen them a handful of times.
So yeah,
pretty much set the bar for progressive metal for a very long time.
Oh yes, absolutely. But let's get to the cooking of the meatballs that he put into this recipe book. So for this you will need 1 pound of ground beef, or a combination of ground beef, pork, and veal. This is ground beef. It might be a little bit over a pound. That is fine. We will add more. 3 eggs. Italian-style breadcrumbs. Now the recipe specifically said Progresso, but we don't have that really down here, so we got Hill County Fare. A half a cup of grated Romano cheese, which we also don't have, so we're using Parmesan cheese. Olive oil, garlic powder, and salt and pepper. Okay, so we've got the meat in the bowl now, and while we're sitting here and kind of going through the recipe and everything like that, so let's talk a little bit more about Dream Theater. My first questions, of course, go to what would be your favorite album of theirs?
Images and Words by far. For sure.
Images and Words?
By far.
Now, what about that album is so appealing?
It has a little bit of everything on that album. Like, they have a little bit of their more popular side with I know Pull Me Under was a very popular single for a while.
Yes.
And then of course I believe Metropolis Part 2 was on that one.
Part 1 is on
Part
there.
1 is on that one.
Metropolis Part 2 is Scenes
from Memory, yeah. So Metropolis Part 1 is one of my favorite Dream Theater songs of all time. I love everything about that song. And again, I think it just represents everything that Dream Theater stands for as far as musicality and lyrics and everything. It was just a great record.
Okay. I mean, I would agree too. I would agree that it's a great record, for one. Images and Words is the one that I'm most familiar with. But I mean, I can't necessarily say it's my personal favorite, just because of the fact that there are a lot of particular great tracks per album that I just can't pull myself away from. So things like tracks like from Images and Words, Take Time, phenomenal track. Another Day, also from Images and Words. 6 O'Clock from Awake is a great track. Change of Seasons.
Oh, just yes, that was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
actually, I think that was the song that got me into Dream Theater in the first place. I downloaded that very first and listened to all 25 minutes of it, and I fell in love with the band from there.
Yeah, it's. And it holds up very, very well today. I mean, I still love hearing it, especially because their sound has changed a bit since making that song. Real quick, the garlic powder, it actually calls for half a teaspoon.
Yeah,
we're adding more than that.
A whole shit ton more than that. We love garlic.
Yeah, so we're just gonna go with this.
We measure that stuff with our hearts.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're using a spoon is just not, you're just still limiting yourself.
Well, it's actually half a tablespoon instead of half a teaspoon. So, and I got some poured in. So yeah. But the first ingredients obviously is the first part of the ingredients is to mix everything together, of course. So that's what we're doing right now.
And it's the messy part, the fun part.
Oh yeah, well the messy part comes up next, which you're doing. Captain Strong Arm can flex his shit. So.
Well, making meatballs never looks so good.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. All right, so salt and pepper is pretty much to taste at this point. Yeah, it says salt and pepper to taste.
I'm a particular fan of pepper.
Yeah, I don't particularly care for the salt, but the pepper I will put in a little bit extra, just to kind of get. I show you a little extra. Okay, but back to the Dream Theater thing. I think what I found to be like among their most accomplished work, I felt was 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence.
There's the entire second disc, which is the one song for 42 minutes.
Yeah, like that song in particular, I feel like we've talked about The Astonishing. We talked about it on the podcast, and it is an ambitious record, but I feel that they hit their stride on 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, really flexing their progressive muscle. Mm-hmm. And as far as storytelling, because they do a lot of stuff that is topical. Or that tells a story. They've done conceptual work, of course, but it's something that I feel musically, lyrically, it flows so perfectly. The War Inside My Head and The Test That Stumped Them All are 2 parts of the song, and those are among my favorite Dream Theater bits ever. So I mean that's always fantastic to hear. Now, what would be your favorite song by them?
The Metropolis Part 1.
Metropolis Part 1.
That and Chain of Seasons, like I said, those are like the 2 songs when I first started listening to them I couldn't get enough of, like all the time. And they do really good cover work too, which is nice. The entire second half of the album Chain of Seasons is all cover stuff.
Okay. Now with Petrucci in mind, and you at one point, being more of a guitar player, how do you feel about his guitar playing?
Oh, it's very fluid and very technical, like we already talked about.
Yeah.
But I also like the way it complemented a lot of the stuff in the music. Sometimes I don't think of him as like a riff guy.
Uh-huh.
Like he doesn't write like a fucking Iron Man riff or like an Enter Sandman riff. He writes pieces of music pretty much. I think that was more of his modus operandi there.
I feel like on later albums he did get more riff based.
I think Train of Thought. I think it's off Train of Thought. Like the first track over Train of Thought.
As
like
I Am.
Yes. There's a badass riff in that.
Oh yeah. And I feel like that became a thing a lot more in the later time of the band. Like getting to listen to the later stuff that I had missed, unfortunately, just due to time getting away from me, and hearing it a lot more. It sounds like he still is extremely technical, but he does have a lot of very good riffs. It is time to get messy. Get messy. So while he does that, we'll continue our conversation, but also we'll show you that my wife has made her own homemade sauce that we are very much obligated to like, unlike the pulled pork. Hi, babe.
Thanks, Lindsay.
No, I will obviously be eating. Oh my God! No, the sausage. I thought you were crumbling the sausage.
No, she put them in whole.
Oh.
Do you want to take them out so you can put the meatballs in?
No, I will put it all together. Hell yeah.
All right, but cook the meatballs before you put them in the sauce.
They're going to be cooked in the pan.
Okay.
Now, with Dream Theater, as I mentioned, I did run a little bit behind as far as getting back into them. I lost track of them after I'd say I'd say after Silver Linings and Black Clouds, or Black Clouds and Silver Linings, whichever one it was. And I got The Astonishing, which I wasn't into initially at first, but after listening to it, it's kind of a drawback to their earlier days, because as I said before, as the Train of Thought album kind of changed their style a little bit. They went a little bit more toward the heavier side of things.
They got a little bit heavier, right?
Whereas before they had a lot more. I feel like when I was listening to a lot of the older stuff, I heard a lot more Pink Floyd. So I felt that they got a little bit softer on things, and I mean they got a little bit harder on things, and went away from the softer side with Train of Thought, and have just pretty much stayed consistent since then. With the only real change being the change of drummers with Mike Portnoy, but their sound I feel has not suffered in the least from that.
Oh, we are ready.
So, and there is our meat. So now what we have to do, and why are you laughing at that?
Why are you putting our meat on camera, man?
I'm starting an OnlyFans.
Shred Shack OnlyFans.
Now, technically, this recipe is also for meatloaf. So it can be used as meatballs or meatloaf. The way you would do it with meatloaf is you would take the entire bowl of the meat and you would put it into a loaf and you would pour a 14-ounce can of chicken broth over it. Instead of doing that, we're doing meatballs, which is what the recipe says we can do, which is what we're going to do, and now we're just required to make balls. Okay, so with the recipe says is to fry them in olive oil. Now, the sausages that we put into the sauce were cooked in this pan, so we are actually going to just pour olive oil into this and get a little sausage taste on top of things. So
we're doing Petrucci proud here.
Yeah, we're doing things a little bit differently, of course, but we're going to be trying it out, and we're going to try to avoid, as far as when do our taste test, anything that says, "Hey, this tastes like sausage." So, but we are going to pour some olive oil into the pan to be cooked and make our balls. Now, typically in the past, when it comes to meatballs, we've either, well, I don't think we've ever, as far as myself and Lindsay, have ever really fried them into a pan like this. We typically either cook them in the oven, or we cook them in the sauce to kind of give it a little bit more flavor. But this is going to be a little bit different for us. We're going to follow the recipe as far as that goes.
I've done the pan before, and what I like about it is that it, when you cook it, adds a little bit of crispiness on the outside.
Yeah, that's something that I enjoy definitely.
Yeah, so I think that's going to help us out with this particular batch here.
All right, so we got our balls. We're just waiting for the heat to rise. God damn it, that sounds so sexy. All right, so it looks like we should be ready. Oh yeah, it looks like we should be ready. So we're gonna start throwing these in.
Wait a minute, come on.
So we got one that we broke apart, and we'll try it because it's the first one we did. Now let's give this a shot. Yeah.
That's more like pan frying them first before you put them in the sauce.
Yeah.
Because that crispy edge,
Yeah.
it has a lot of flavor to it, especially because you're cooking it in the oil.
Wow. The only thing I'm surprised about with the recipe is that it didn't have very many spices beyond the Italian breadcrumbs. And normally, because I'm not much of a cook myself, and that's part of Pat's tagline, pretty much. But I'm not much of a cook myself. But normally, if I'm making them, I kind of just do things half-assed, and I just throw a bunch of spices in and call it a day. So I've never actually even put Parmesan cheese into one of these.
I personally would have thrown probably some red pepper flakes and spice it up a little bit. That would have been really good. Probably a lot more garlic, and I probably would have done fresh garlic myself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, meatballs to everyone's taste, but this is actually a good recipe. I like it.
Yeah. Very basic, like you said, but it's just right.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can see it being good as a meatloaf. Especially if you throw it with some barbecue sauce. I feel like that would be fantastic.
Some of that JR's barbecue sauce.
Oh, just any barbecue sauce. But JR's barbecue sauce, of course, you know, go watch our video. But anything like that. But we're gonna sit here and we're gonna finish up these and throw them straight into the pan when they're done, so they can cook a little bit longer.
And then make up some pasta.
And make up some pasta.
Some garlic bread.
And get some garlic bread. And do it Italian just because, you know.
Good old Sunday family dinner.
So I feel like this was a win. We're starting our pasta now. We put the balls into the sauce. And so now we're just going to let them cook a little bit more, you know, get a little bit, you know, they had the crisp from the frying, but we're also probably also getting a little bit softer, but, you know, who cares? It's balls in sauce. Lovely, fantastic.
Yeah.
Now we're making the pasta, and we're going to continue to enjoy this. If you want the recipe, you should buy this book, Mashed Potatoes. And like I said, it has at least 100 recipes from different metal artists, and we'll probably be doing another one next month. Who knows what it will be? We got plenty to pick from, and there's also desserts. Oh snap!
Oh snap!
Oh snap! So. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed our discussion. If you agree that Dream Theater is a pretty damn good band, then let us know in the comments.
Pretty good.
Then let us know in the comments below. But if you have some arguments, you want to talk a little bit more about, you know, what you feel about them, let us know as well. We're always open for conversation and discussion. So let us know here on the YouTube channel or on Facebook at facebook.com/theshredcheck. Until next time. I'm Dan Mack.
I'm Chris Mack.
And we're gonna fucking eat this.
Yeah.